Hi, so somebody left a comment. Shabnam, I think, left me a comment on YouTube and asked me to make a video about the difference between Bufo Alvarius and ayahuasca. So first, thanks a lot for your comment. Um, okay, I'd like to point out something. Although I can be really arrogant and seem like I think I know stuff, I actually really don't. Okay, and the more I progress with ayahuasca and with other things, shrooms and Bufo various, the more I realize I really know nothing. In fact, um, the last experience I had with ayahuasca which was the most intense I had. I spent all night repeating to myself, "I don't know anything. I don't understand anything. This makes no sense." And that was the biggest download I've ever had. It was like, whoa. Um, and yeah, so okay, so take everything I say with a pinch of salt, and I'm aware that my website, Jan with Ayahuasca, WordPress, is a snapshot of me at the time. Okay, so it's me sometimes being a twat, sometimes being an arrogant cunt, and thinking I know stuff, but I know I'm going to look back on it a few months later and think, oh my God, I knew nothing back then. And I hope that I look back on this one day and say, oh my God, I really knew nothing back then, because it will mean that I will have progressed. All right. So, okay, so Bufo Alvarius, the first time I did Bufo Alvarius, I thought I would never experience anything even remotely like it, because up until then also I'd had only very weak ayahuasca experiences. I'd had 6 individual ceremonies, not within a diet or anything like that, and none of them had been very intense. Okay, on one occasion I had some open eye visuals, and on some occasions I felt virtually nothing. So Bufo Alvarius, I mean, okay, it's true Bufo Alvarius in a way is stronger, but I don't think it's more powerful. You see, Bufo Alvarius, you breathe it, and you take one breath, and within 10 seconds, boom, you're in, right? And there's no escaping that. It's like you can have any resistance you want or whatever. And yes, intention is important, but you can resist it all you like. You're going to go straight in, boom. There's nothing you can do about it. So ayahuasca is very different on that level. Ayahuasca for me usually takes me about an hour to maybe like 45 minutes to an hour to start feeling effects, to start thinking, okay, something's starting to happen here, and about an hour and a half before I start getting in there. Okay. Now on my in my trip to Peru, I was there for 2 weeks. I'm gonna upload some videos about that with my. I'm gonna read the best parts of my notes of my 2 weeks there. There's some crazy stuff, um, and I did five ceremonies while I was over there within a diet. We were isolated from other people, eating only certain foods and so on. And out of the 5 ceremonies, 2 were extremely intense. Number 3 and number 5. Now, number 3 was fantastic, but it was very ego driven. I realized on the 4th one that my ego had got in there like big time and hijacked it. But it felt great. I felt like I felt amazing. And for the first time during ayahuasca, I felt things that were very reminiscent of things that I'd felt with Bufo Alvarius. Bufo Alvarius, you feel your whole body vibrating, like every particle of energy that constitutes your body, you can just feel it vibrating as if your body's gonna, crack and burst into a billion pieces. And so you feel this vibrating thing in all your body, and you might feel that you're a body of light and stuff. Well, for the first time during ayahuasca, on that third ceremony, I I felt that. I felt like my whole body vibrating very, very strongly. It was amazing, amazing, powerful, godly feeling, you know. And that's when I sort of started to realize that I was God. Okay, that we are, each one of us are gods. Each one of us are our own creator. Um, and um, and I felt like I had endless power. Except that in that experience, my ego was driving the whole thing. And yeah, I mean, I go into more detail in my other videos that I haven't uploaded yet. But it was a crazy thing. But then that's when I realized that you could actually feel that vibrating feeling, and it lasted for what felt a lot longer than it did with Bufo Alvarius. Now, maybe it wasn't quite as intense, but it was very, very intense. And at the same time, you're still very much here. You know, with ayahuasca, you're still aware of your surroundings. Your things might look a bit weird and surreal and everything, and you might have a hard time standing up and keeping your balance to go to the toilet or something. But you're still very much here. And with Bufo Alvarius, my very short, very slim experience with it, because I've only taken it twice, is that you tend to leave your body more and leave the sensations of the body, and you start to feel in a whole new way. You know, in ayahuasca, it was my body vibrating. With Bufo, it's as if you can get out. I think you can get out of your body at some point, and when you start to feel again, especially if you're on a slightly higher dose. The first time I was given 50 milligrams. On the second time, I was given 70. On that second time, when I was starting to feel again, I was on this nice soft blanket, and my hands were in the hairs of the blanket, which may be that high, and but it felt as though the energy from my hands was fused and merged with the energy of the blanket or something, and the proportion of these hairs of the blanket was, they just like expanded, and my hand was like almost inside the blanket, and I was feeling things in a way I'd never felt them before, as if I was feeling from the first time, as if my consciousness had just like landed in my body, and I'm starting to feel again for the first time. And then quickly things start to become normal again, because, well, you're getting anchored back down into this body where you've been for so many years, right? Whatever a year is, I'm starting to I don't know what time is at this point. And so I would say Bufo is quick, it's instant, it's incredibly intense, and you can master that vibrating feeling. You can stay in there for much longer than, but you can stay in there for longer if you want. And you just need to get the hang of it. Now, for the first time I did it, the hang of it for me was to be honest with myself, and to give up on shame and judgment, because that's what it was. It was around judgment, and so I had to give up on judgment. And so every time I gave up on judgment, on shame, and just start yelling out to the top of my lungs, I am free, I am free, I'm free of judgment and stuff, and stop being ashamed and not giving a damn about what people around me would think, and how they would think, oh my God, he's going crazy. When I would give up on that, the vibrations would come back. I would get back in there, and I would start to feel. Now, quite similarly, on some of these ayahuasca experiences I had in Peru, when I would relax and go with the flow and just feel and concentrate on feeling my body and breathe. Very important, the breathing in, consciously breathing deeply and slowly. Then these vibration feelings would come back. When I thought I was going down and I was just going to come out of the ayahuasca experience, it would come back like boom, and I would start vibrating again. My whole body would start vibrating, very much like on Bufo Alvarius. So I would say the two are more similar than they seem at first. Um, Ayahuasca lasts a lot longer. You can do a lot more work. And I think when you've got some maestra or shaman or somebody who really knows what they're doing and who are really well intentioned is very important. Um, then I think they can work on you. I don't know how that works, but I'm pretty sure that they do. Um, Whereas in the Bufo Alvarius thing, you're on your own. It can last as little as 5 or 10 minutes, I've heard. For me, it's always lasted more, but I also really wanted it to last more. I also really wanted that experience. And so my first one lasted at least half an hour, I was told, and the second one lasted a good 45 minutes. Um, so I don't know really. I don't really know what these things are. Um, in terms of visuals, um, with Bufo Alvarius, 10 seconds, boom, everything is light. I didn't try opening my eyes. But everything is light. You see these like triangular fractal things like you can see on the cover of the last Coldplay album, that sort of thing. Um, and that to me was my consciousness. People might call it might call it God, sorry. I call it my consciousness. The lines were very slightly yellow gold, and everything else was just white light, and that's it. And it became obvious to me that that was me. That was my consciousness. That was the consciousness that had created me. That was the consciousness that wanted to live and be in this body, and that wanted to live, wanted to feel, wanted to be in this living experience, in this physical realm, whatever it is, I don't know. And that was very clear that that's what that was. It was my consciousness, okay? Uh, and so that was something completely new to me. I I'm aware that I shouldn't recommend things to people. At the same time, I want to recommend it because it's such an amazing thing, and I think that somebody who has not lived that in their life, it's like they haven't lived. It's like somebody spending a life without eating strawberries, without going to the sea, without seeing the snow, without I don't know. It's like going to a theme park and not going on any of the rides, or having these like sort of kind, gentle rides, and then there's the amazing ride, and you go to the theme park, but you don't go on the amazing ride. Well, it's kind of the same thing. Bufo Alvarius is that sort of amazing ride in a way, and at the same time, it reminds you of what an amazing ride you are in already. Now, it is very easy to forget all that, okay? It's so easy afterwards to go back to your old habits, the bad habits, and and to just forget all of those fantastic things. It's so easy. But I also think, from having spoken to the guy who gave it to me, he's taken it at least 50 times, and he says he doesn't take it anymore. He doesn't smoke it anymore because he says he doesn't need it. And he seems to be in this permanent state of just feeling great, being open, loving, not worried about what's going to happen. For him, death is a cosmic joke. And I'm starting to think that as well. And I'm starting to feel a lot less worried about the future, about death, about all of these things. I know I'm gonna be okay. Even if things turn to shit, I'm still gonna be okay. You know, um, as fucked up as it may seem, um, or weird as it may seem. So there, I don't know if that's confused you more, if it's helped you in any way. I'm really at the beginning of my exploration of me, of this world that I seem to have created myself. That seems to be a creation of my in my mind or whatever. Um, and I'm fairly convinced that there's only so much that we can understand. Um, that the nature of what we're dealing with here is infinite and limitless, and we can't understand that because our bodies are limited, our minds are limited, our brains are limited, our senses are limited, And so there's no way we could possibly comprehend what this whole thing is really about. And like, we really have no clue, no idea. It's just amazing. But at the same time, our limits are largely illusionary, or illusory. Yeah, yeah, I think that's how you say it. Yeah. Um, and so we can overcome them in a way. The limits are more in our mind than they are elsewhere. I mean, I seen a guy with no arms win a swimming race. All right, it was a butterfly thing, right? So where the guys are going like this, and this guy's got no fucking arms, and he wins the race. Okay, I've seen a guy with no arms and no legs, just a sort of chest and basic, and waist, swim, get into the pool by himself, swim across, and then get out of the pool by himself without arms or legs. I mean, okay, if that guy can do that, what is there that we can't do? You know? So I think it's good to remind ourselves of that, and we should probably have pictures of these people on the walls around our, on the back of our eyelids, because it's so easy to complain and think, oh, I can't do this, oh, I don't need this, and all that bollocks. But really, humans can do amazing things if they just set their minds to them. But I hope that's helped. Sorry for the length of the video. And may you be well.